I apologize, I lost track of time. Next presentation is going to be about Main Street benefits, and our presenter for that today is she's been with Human Services for about 14 years in all Main Street benefit programs, and now works in program support with employment training and development, where she helps develop policies and procedures, and also trains new staff on Human Services Main Street benefits programs. So, without further ado, thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I know it's right before lunch, so I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet, hopefully. Again, I want to introduce myself. My name is Amanda Sanchez. I am a supervisor for Human Services. I've been there, like he just mentioned, for 14 years. And it was supposed to be something that was going to be temporary, and I ended up falling in love with the job. I love working with our families, our individuals here in Kern County, and it became a passion of mine to work there. So I have managed caseloads, 15,000 cases, managed up to 25 employees, and I also managed MOU contracts with aged and adult services to incorporate our medical services and our inpatient services as well. So I did that for about 7 years. Now I am in employment training and development, where I help develop new staff that come in to set their mindset to what type of employees we want today. We want employees that are going to be customer-based, because it's so important, right? It's so important to be customer-based, be pro-customer, right? Not give them a hard time, right? And that is why I am in this department now. And I also help develop processes and procedures for the whole department. That's what we do daily. So I'm going to get started. So department, now we are Human Services, no longer Department of Human Services, Human Services. So Human Services, each program has its own regulations, and those regulations are set by CDFS, which is the state of California. So any regulations that we go based on are going to be based on state regulations, and you can find all of that information on the CDFS website. So today I'm going to be covering CalFresh, Medi-Cal, CalWorks, and General Assistance. I think a lot of these programs sound familiar to you. These are the main programs that we administer in employment and financial services. And so we're going to be talking about these today. By the way, if you have any questions, stop me at any time. I prefer questions, so the more engagement, the better. But definitely, I will be pausing for questions at the end of each section of the topic. So every program requires the same process. You submit an application, you receive an appointment for an interview. Step 2 is you complete the interview and provide required verification if needed. If there's anything pending in that interview, we're going to request it from the customer. Benefits are then approved or denied, and notice of action issues are notifying of approval and denial. We have to notify our customer if they're approved or denied. So one of the main programs that we have at the department is CalFresh, and it provides food assistance to our qualifying low-income individuals and households. So if they are under a certain federal poverty level, they will qualify for CalFresh. CalFresh provides food assistance. Food assistance is not to what we provide is not to cover all food for the home. It's meant as a supplement for the home. So for CalFresh, we're going to cover the application process, CalFresh eligibility factors, and eligibility outcomes. So how can someone apply? Very important. The most efficient way of someone applying is through BenefitsCal. You can go to benefitscal.com and you can apply, and we get a direct report that we have applications, and we're now screening them, and we're going to process it and set up an interview. But they can apply in person. by mail, by phone, by fax, and through an authorized representative. There are people in different departments, agencies, here, Clinica Sierra Vista, right, that can complete applications for the customer as well. But I would say this is the most efficient way. So if your customer or client is asking how to apply for these benefits, definitely send them here.
I had a client that did apply online and they never received a notification of an appointment, a notification of any services. And then we went back and looked online and it showed that the application was still pending and she had applied 40 days prior to that.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, when was the application? So a little disclaimer about that. You know, we all went through COVID, right, pandemic. And COVID pandemic, you know, hit a lot of different departments differently. And a lot of people out, a lot of things, but we were receiving about 300 to 500 applications a day during COVID, influx amount of applications. So right now we are a little bit behind on applications. And another reason is because someone can reapply and reapply and reapply on benefits account. So they have multiple applications pending. And so that's another reason, but that is the main reason. Now we are working through that now. Now we can see a light at the end of the tunnel because there were so many applications coming in, but that is probably the reason why. So if that customer, I would have her call the call center. It's 1-877 410-8812. And that call center, they can let her know where her application is in pending status. And if she needs to expedite, and I'm going to talk about what expedite means, then we can definitely refer it up to a supervisor and have her case reviewed. Okay? So definitely have her call there. Yeah, we understand that's happening. So for application, we have to complete the determination within 30 days. Within 30 days. We have to know if they're granted or if they're going to be denied within 30 days. We have something that's called expedite services. Expedite services mean that we're expediting their services, right? We have to do that within 3 days. But they have to meet a certain criteria to meet expedite services criteria. They have to be under a certain income level, and they have to have 150 or less in their bank account or cash on hand. And if they qualify under that criteria, we have to make a determination within 3 days. Okay, so that is what expedite services is. So you then, once we screen the application, depending on how they applied, they get an appointment and they get an interview scheduled with an eligibility worker. So typically the appointments are scheduled over the phone. So if you've ever been into our building, you know we're busy, right? Most of us are busy. DHS, definitely busy. So we now offer our interviews over the phone, which people prefer. Sometimes people don't have phones, right? They don't have access to phones, and so we can, they can request it face-to-face, right? Maybe they don't have a phone at all. And so they can request a face-to-face appointment, and if it's requested, it has to be scheduled as a face-to-face appointment. So a household is defined as individuals that customarily purchase and prepare food together. So when it comes to CalFresh, I don't care who you live with. It doesn't matter who you live with. If you eat and purchase food together, you have to be in the same case. So if I'm talking to a customer and they're saying, oh, I live with my roommate, but I don't eat with her, then roommate doesn't have to be in the case. But I live with my roommate and we do eat together. We go grocery shopping and we put our food together. Roommate now has to be added to the case. In other words, it's not just about relationship, it's about who purchases and prepares together. Husband and wife, legally married, have to be in the same case. Parents and child have to be in the same case. If they're in the same home. If you have someone that's married, but they live in separate homes, they don't have to be in the same case. Any questions on that? Yes.
What if the child is over 18?
That's a very good question. So the child has to be 22 years old to have its own case. They have to be 22 years old. And we have a lot of scenarios like that where they're living with mama, right? They want to apply. Mama's probably like, you need to do something because, you know, they're trying to figure out their life. And so mama has to be added to the case at that if they're under 22. Yeah.
Now, what if they're like 19 years old, they're not living in the same household as mom, but mom refuses to go and report her worker that she no longer lives there? Can she go apply for her own and that she be removed from mom's case?
Yeah, so if the 19-year-old doesn't live with mom, right, and they provide a different address, 19-year-old can have their own.
So they don't have to wait for mom to go and contact worker to let her worker know that she no longer lives
So
there.
are you saying that mom has a case?
Mom has case, has child on there, the child was living with her, and now
We would contact mom and we would ask her if child lives in the case, and if she does not want to cooperate, we would send SIU. It would be an investigation. They would go identify if the child or that person is still in the home, because she can't receive benefits for someone that's not in the home. Yeah.
What if they're homeless?
If they're home, yeah, same thing. If they're homeless, they can have their own case. They're not in the home.
What if, well, okay, let me switch that. What if they're couch surfing, going from place to place to place? They don't have a set location and they're changing locations, let's say every week.
Mm-hmm.
So would they have like a particular mailing address where you can send something to?
Yes.
How would you determine how much food stamps they could get if they have no income?
Okay, so good question. Lots of different questions on that one, right? So the first thing I can say is that we have a lot of population that are claimed to be homeless. So when someone is homeless, most of the time they report a address, maybe mama's address, maybe siblings' address, whoever, where they can receive mail. They say they don't have a permanent housing. We also use our main location as a mailing address for them. So if they're homeless, any notices that go out to them will be there at our location, and they can come pick them up. Yes. And as far as, what was your last question?
How do you determine how much they're eligible for if they have no income and they're homeless?
Right. So there is a standard amount set by the FPO levels, the state and federal, and it's based on their income, how much they receive, and it's based on if they have any expenses, and it's based on if they have any income as well. We have a lot of homeless population that claim recycling, and that is considered income, right? They don't live in a permanent housing, but wherever they stay, they have to pay $20 to stay there, right? That would be an expense for them. So it's going to depend on each individual circumstance, and then it's going to give us a determination after that of what they're eligible for. But right now, the maximum benefit amount for one person is how much, DZ? The 256? 281, it went up. 281 for one individual. Yes. Yes. What was that? That's a very interesting topic. I just saw it on the news the other day. Yes. So when it comes to college students, they have to meet a criteria for college students. They have to work a certain amount of hours, 20 hours or more a week, to qualify for CalFresh. They can meet an exemption to qualify for CalFresh. There's lots of different exemptions, but one would be if they're eligible for the what is it called? Financial aid when they work at school. Work City. If they're eligible for Work City, even if they never get a job, then they would be eligible for CalFresh. But if they don't meet those criteria and they're going to school full time, and this would be considered higher learning, so it would be, not all vocational schools are considered higher learning, right? It has to be a higher learning university like Bakersfield College or CSUB or anywhere where you can get a bachelor's degree, that would be higher learning. But if they're getting a certified for, like, I don't know, maybe a nurse, something like that, that doesn't necessarily fall into the student criteria. But yes, when it comes to students, they have to meet an exemption to be eligible for CalFresh. Yes, they do. Which is interesting, right? Yeah, we thought the same thing. We follow the regulations.
How about if the 19-year-old has a child?
If the 19, that the child would be under the mom's case, yeah.
Another question.
But, you know, if the 19-year-old lives with mama, senior mom has to be in the case because they can't be separate unless she's 22 years and older.
So once they separate, separate, what happens then?
If they don't live in the same home,
But if they still live in the same home and she's already over 23.
oh, she can have her own case with her daughter or son.
Then it can be separate.
Yep, it's just that age right there.
So when it comes to like a homeless situation, say if I'm gonna use an example, say if it's like a brother and he was living on the streets and his sister already has a case and he needs to use her address, is he able to get like CalFresh?
He is. He just has to, we have to document in our case that this is the situation. They're claiming they're just using it as mailing address. Yeah, as long as we're justifying why we're using that address, it should be fine.
If the person is deceased, do you guys get notified or does the family have to notify you?
Both, we do get notified. We get a report of a deceased list that they will notify us that someone has been deceased, yeah. And then family notifies us as well.
And if a family member didn't, can anybody that is related or had a relationship is able to notify DHS?
Anybody can, right, but it should be the primary applicant that would let us know that someone has deceased from their household. Normally, that happens, you know, it happens frequently. Like if that does happen, we don't have an issue with that. But if they don't, we get a report every month. Yeah. Every month, it's a monthly report. Any other questions? Okay. Good question. So, CalFresh households do not have to be related to be eligible for CalFresh. Individuals must be a U.S. citizen or meet one of the qualifying immigration status criteria. So yes, to receive CalFresh benefits, you have to be a U.S. citizen or meet an immigration status criteria, which is a legal permanent resident. If you're a legal permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, you could qualify potentially for max benefits for yourself, right? Depending on your income and expenses.
What if you keep getting someone's EBT card coming to my house and they do not live with me? I think they're just using my address. I done put it return to sender, but they keep sending me information for this client that does not live in my house.
That's
And they're using my address and they're getting assistance because I know it's an EBT card in it. So they keep sending their information to my house.
So that could be a couple of different things. They did issue EBT cards during the pandemic, right?
This was after, like I'm still getting stuff, like, and I keep putting return to sender.
So I'm guessing they have the wrong address. And someone's looking for their EBT card.
Yeah.
Which sucks, right? Because they're probably like, you know, they're wanting food and they can't get their EBT card. So what I would do is, because I work for DHS and I know how hard that can be on someone, I would probably call the call center and let them know that that's happening, right?
Because I don't want to open it, I just know because I see the envelopes, I know what they look like. And I don't want to open it, so I'm just like,
Yeah, someone's requesting it and it's going to the wrong
and if
address.
they're sending me this, I'm getting.
Because we only issue them at application or if they're requesting a new one.
Okay.
Yeah. So someone is waiting for their EBT card.
Yeah.
All right. So the majority of households qualify for modified categorical eligibility, which is MCE. So this is the thing. When it comes to CalFresh, we don't even look at resources. Bank accounts, we don't look at. If they have $5,000 in the bank account, it does nothing for us when it comes to CalFresh. We only look at income. If you qualify for MCE. And how do you qualify for MCE? Basically, if you're not a fleeing felon, a program violator for CalFresh, then you're going to qualify for MCE. Everyone else, we don't look at resources for CalFresh programs. Yeah. We're just looking at the income. So MCE does not apply for expedite determination. What that means is that expedite services, we have to do a determination within 3 days, right? And when it comes to expedite services, we do take into account. That's the only time we look at their resources. That's the only time. Other than that, we don't. not regular processing. So household income must pass 2 tests, not just 1, but 2. We go based on gross income. We don't use net income. We use gross. Okay? It does. It does because, and that is again a federal and state rule because we all know we don't make what we grow, right? But we go based on gross income. That is the income that we use. So we do explain that to our customers that we're using their gross income. It has to pass 2 tests, and basically what that means is when you're processing these cases, it goes through a gross income test and it goes through a net income test. And once it passes both of those tests, then we can find the customer eligible or not. Yes.
Is there a reason why you guys the eligibility determined through growth, even though we all know that we're not getting that growth?
There is no reason, but just federal law. And our state laws that they go based on growth. Because what I've seen on the CBSS website is that it's just a regulation that was put in place that we use gross income, which when you look at, I would think most agencies goes based on, is there anybody in here that goes by net income? Right, yeah, but why, we don't agree with it, we just have to follow it.
But gross, but when we determine rental portions, we go based on that.
Okay, that makes sense. I know, that's the reason why. So households are required to report specific mandatory reports with their semi-annual report and recertification. So what this means is that the customer has an application. 6 months later, they'll get what's called a SAR 7. It's a report that they just have to report if anything has changed, and they have to report income for the month prior. And then 6 months later after that, they have a recertification. They're renewing their case every year. Monthly benefits are put in electronic benefit transfer, which is their EBT card. During the interview, if the agency determines that more information is required prior to making an eligibility determination, we will request it from the customer. We use this form here, which is a CW 2200. We will have a due date, the item that we're requesting, the person, and the program for which program we're requesting it for. We give the customer 10 days to provide.
What then if you have someone who is normally over income, but due to getting sick or they miss a lot of work and their checks are just like nothing? Could they apply, and would they apply the month that they get the checks? Would they apply the months that they work, months out?
You said normally they wouldn't qualify? Okay, so they can definitely apply. Everyone has a right to apply for benefits. The way we work is we have to anticipate income for the next 6 months. So that's what our system does, and we have to project income for the next 6 months. So if that income that they're making now is not expected to continue, then they're probably not going to be eligible because it's not expecting to continue. It has to be good enough until their next start time. That's a good question. So applicants always get notified of the outcome. Whether they're denied or approved, we have to let our customers know. If they're denied or approved, you will have the notice of action. If they were approved, it has how the budget would be, how we calculated what they're approved for. And here in the back of the notice, they have a right to appeal a decision. So if you ever have a customer that doesn't agree with the decision, have them appeal it. It's okay. I encourage it, actually. We'll look at it, they'll go to an appeals unit, we'll look to see if we followed every single thing that we could have, and then we'll go from there. So benefit issuances are done, it's not just on the 1st of the month when it comes to CalFresh, it's between the 1st and the 10th. So that's something that I would like you to know, because if you're getting those questions, oh, I haven't received my benefit, and it's like the 5th. It's based, they have a 7-digit case number, and it's based on the last digit of their case number when they're going to receive their benefits from the 1st to the 10th. Yes.
So on both 8 and 8, is either between the 8th and the 9th, or is that just on the
It's both 8 on the 8th, and it would be on the 9th as well. Like it would be on the 9th. It's a mistake. Okay. Anything after that, the 10th, would be on the 10th, obviously. So we have something that Kern County opted in, which is for our homeless population. And it's restaurant meals in the CalFresh program that allows use of their EBT card to purchase prepared meals from participating restaurants, which we have been waiting for this, honestly. We had heard about this a couple of years ago, but Kern County hadn't opted in, and we have now. And so there are certain places that you can buy, our homeless population can buy hot meals now, which is great, right? It's great, because we know that they need it. Have you seen this sticker on the window of restaurants? If you see this, you know they're participating. Yes.
And only for the homeless population.
Yeah, we're gonna go into what the criteria is, but yes. Yeah, we're about to go into that criteria. So you can find more information if you want more information from your customer on the CEDSS website. It gives you information on what this program has to offer. But what I wanted you to know is that when you click on Kern County, it'll tell you what participating restaurants, because not all restaurants are participating, right? Some will and some don't. So you can click on Kern County and it'll give you a list of participating restaurants. Who does this program help? It helps individuals with disability and aged adults 60 years and older, but they have to be homeless. If they are homeless and they have a disability, they qualify. If they are homeless and they're 60 years or older, they qualify. So for those individuals that are working, for those and you come across that, definitely let them know. If they have a spouse, the spouse is eligible for that as well.
Is there a way, so like say, we don't necessarily always work with homeless, sometimes they can be in a unit, but they are facing homelessness and they didn't qualify for the Meals on Wheels?
Oh, okay. So they did, are they receiving CalFresh benefits?
Yes, can that be switched to now be able to?
Yeah, so if they're already receiving CalFresh benefits and they meet one of this criteria, either disabled or 60 years or older, the system automatically does it. Yeah, so they should be able to use their EBT card automatically. So this is more information on this program. So it gives you step one is find RMP restaurants in your area. They can scan this barcode. Step two, we accept, they have a sign on the window that they accept EBT, and then they can use their card for a hot meal. Question? Yes. Yeah, so what we would do is we would have the customer call the 1877 number. Did you write that number down? Yeah, you would have them call that number and let them know when they applied, right? Or the customer when they applied, and if the application can be reviewed or can it be reviewed for expedite services. Yeah.
When's the best time to call that 877 number?
That's a good question.
Because sometimes can't get through.
Yeah, I would say like everything else, 8 a.m. in the
You
morning.
better start calling at 7:30.
Yeah.
No, when it starts.
You know how that goes, right? Well, this is the thing. So we, like every department, right, we've lost a lot of employees, like through COVID, people decided to retire, right, because I'm out of here, right, COVID. And so we're building the call center back up. And so we're slowly getting there. And we do have a lot more people in the call center now, but that is why there's a wait time. And another reason there's a wait time is because it's one and done. If someone calls in and they have a pending application, they're processing it right then and there. It doesn't go to a worker. Everything is one and done. They're processing right when we call, which is a good thing. Yeah, that is why there's a little bit longer wait time. Any other questions? Okay. Let's talk about CalWorks. CalWorks is cash assistance. It's cash assistance for families. You have to have a child under 19 to receive CalWorks. And we're going to talk about one other criteria, but that is basic. That is basically what CalWorks is we assist with cash assistance with somebody that has a child under 19. So when it comes to that, there's the CalWORKS application can take up to 45 days for processing. We do have an immediate need, which is kind of like expedite services. An immediate need is same day. We have to review and process same day, but no later than the next business day. We have what's called temporary homeless assistance. We have to review the same day. And then temporarily is exactly what it sounds like. We help them with a temporary homeless assistance. Maybe they are temporarily needing a place to stay and we issue out payments. Or permanent housing or permanent assistance where we issue payments and the person has found a place to stay. They found a somewhere to rent. And we can help them with their security deposit to no max, which that changed, and we can help them with their first month's rent. That's permanent housing assistance. Temporary homeless assistance we issue up to 16 days. And it could be maybe they're staying at a hotel. Yes.
And you only provide the permanent homeless assistance if they're doing the THA through DHS.
Yes. For CalWORKS. So how do we review and process CalWORKS applications? Same thing. Now CalWORKS applications are phone interviews. Face-to-face if requested. Before, it was all face-to-face. We had tons of people in the lobby. They had to wait, right? Tons of hours. Now we can do it over the phone. If it's a two-parent household, they both have to participate in that interview. The assistance unit must include an eligible child or an unborn child who is deprived of support and care and meet income and resource limits. Okay. So I mentioned that for CalWORKS, you have to have a child under 19. But not only do you have to have a child under 19, you have to have a deprivation. And the deprivation can be a deceased parent, an absent parent. It can be a disabled parent, if you have a disabled parent, or an unemployed or underemployed parent. If that child has one of those deprivations and you meet income limits, you will qualify for CalWORKS. Another thing for CalWORKS that's different from CalFresh, we do take resources into account. We do take anything, your bank accounts, vehicles, life insurances, stock bonds, anything. You name it, we review it when it comes to cash assistance.
As far as you said, count vehicles. Does that only count the vehicle if it's owned by the client?
Yes. Yes.
So
It's only if it's in our names.
So if they're leasing or financing it, you don't know.
Oh, we definitely count. Leasing and financing would be your property until obviously it's, well, we know it's not our, it's like our house, right? We're paying for us, not really a house, it's the banks. But yeah, we would count it under their name if it's under their name. But if it's under mom, dad, anyone else, then we would not. Yeah.
How long can someone receive CalWORKS for?
We're about to go into that, but it's 60 months.
What about foreign nationals or CalWORKS or unaccompanied minors?
Okay, so unaccompanied minored, there's a few different rules to that. So we have a program, it depends if they're emancipated, right?
It's called the TCVAP.
Oh, TCVAP, yeah. We do have TCVAP, and that's for, that's specifically a program for someone that falls right under that category. So we have specific people with specialized caseloads working on those cases. So if they are they're not U.S. citizens and they fall under that category, then we can definitely review for eligibility. But so it's the same rules as CalWORKS. Yeah, resources count, everything counts. TCVAP, yes. So you have to meet income and resource limits. Now, I said that earlier, I said that you have to have a child under 19, they have to have a deprivation. Pregnant women can now receive benefits from the date that they report that they're pregnant. Before, it used to be at their second trimester. They have an unborn baby, right? Now, a pregnant person can say, I am pregnant from day one. We give her 30 days to provide actual verification of pregnancy. And she can give a sworn statement at the time of interview, and we can make her eligible for CalWORKS benefits. But she does have to provide verification right from the doctor, at least within 30 days, to continue her eligibility.
And the question I have that is, I'm pretty sure not everybody's calling to report like if they lost the baby and they don't have any other qualifying dependents. Are they required to follow up with that, that client to confirm it that they're still pregnant?
So we will at SAR 7 and at recertification, most likely at the recertification, which is 12 months later. Yeah. Yeah, so at SAR 7, we're requesting, they have a report at SAR 7. And is there any changes? So she's required to report that at the SAR 7. Not everyone does. So if she doesn't report that, then when it comes to not pregnancy, do we do an overissuance for that? We would do an overissuance. They were overpaid for something that they weren't entitled to.
And that's the same thing as 6 months, maybe has passed, she didn't have it.
Mhm.
If she's put that she didn't have baby, didn't have baby, that's the overpay of 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, so they have to report to us, but obviously that doesn't always happen, right? And depending on the role and what it is if we have to do an overpayment or not. It's not, we don't always do an overpayment. Most of the time for CalWorks, we do overpayments, not with CalFresh. With CalFresh, if it's in the middle of a SAR 7 or a recertification, it depends on if it's not income-based, then we don't do an overpayment. But CalWorks is different.
Right.
We're gonna look at that. Yeah.
If they voluntarily submit that information, do they still get hit with the repayment?
As long as they did it timely within 10 days, then no. We reduce or discontinue benefits if that was the only qualifying factor for her, and we'll discontinue with a 10-day notice of action, allowing her 10 days to know, and then she'll be discontinued. So the adult must be a parent or caretaker relative of the minor child based on the relationship requirements. When it comes to CalWorks, we have to verify relationship. We do. So we have a lot of families, parents come in, but we also have a lot of grandmas, aunts, right? Uncles, people that maybe didn't anticipate that this dynamic happening, that now have to take care of children that they're needing assistance for. So we have to be able to identify and have verification of how they're related. The last thing we want is someone that's not related to a child, right, and applying for benefits for them. They have to be related up to the 5th degree, which we will do that with an interview, and verification of relationship is required. So time limits, yes. Time limits for CalWorks. An individual is eligible to receive CalWorks benefits a maximum of 60 months within their lifetime. So they have what's called a federal clock and a state clock. The reason it's the same, they work the same together, but the reason there's a federal clock is because if my customer goes to Arizona or goes to Texas, that goes into the federal clock, and when they come and apply in California, I can see how many months they used anywhere else. Individuals can be timed out, but their children can still be eligible to receive benefits. Yep. Happens all the time.
Timed out parent no longer qualifies for welfare work, correct?
A timed out parent, right, because they're not receiving benefits for themselves.
So then they cannot get community connections.
Depending on why they were discontinued from CalWorks, right? If they were discontinued because they're timed out and that's the reason, then no, they wouldn't qualify. Because we do have a program that they can receive community connections up to 24 months, but only if they were discontinued because now they have a job and they're over income.
Okay.
Which is what welfare to work does, right? That's what welfare to work is there for, right? I believe we're going to talk about that as well. So income must be at or below the federal poverty level based on the household size. Property must be at below the level set by the state. So we have a property level and an income level, and they have to meet both to qualify. Again, like HealthFresh, they get a notice letting them know with CW 2200 if we need any verification, and we give them 10 days to provide. We give them 10 days to provide. So sometimes maybe you'll see this notice of what exactly they're asking. If they need clarification, have them call the call center. of what exactly they're needing, but I can tell you that the second page of the CW 2200 will give them examples of what they can provide for whatever they're asking for. Income verification, there can be a lot of types of different of income verification, right? Not everyone receives checks. Not everyone has an employer printout. So what can I provide to verify my employer information? The second page will give you some examples and help the customer. Same thing with CalFresh. CalWork gives you a notice of action if you're approved or denied, lays out how we use your income and why you received the benefits you did or if you didn't receive benefits, and you can appeal. You have a right to appeal the decision. So CalWorks is a little bit different from CalFresh the way it's issued. They're only issued, the benefits are issued between the 1st through the 3rd, or it depends on the last digit of their case number, but they're only issued between the 1st and the 3rd of the month for cash aid. So immediate need is a cash benefit available to CalWorks applicants who have an emergency situation and insufficient funds to meet the need. The family must be apparently eligible for CalWorks at the time they request for immediate need payment. So if they have an immediate need that we cannot help the customer in any other way, maybe their immediate need is I need food right now. CalFresh can cover it. Does that make sense? Maybe I need immediate need for something else. If we have a resource that can cover that, then they would not qualify for immediate need. But if it has something to do with a different type of emergency, then we can evaluate for immediate need for that.
With bus passes fall in that category.
For immediate need? So bus passes are attached to Welfare to Work. So if you're in CalWorks, if you're receiving CalWorks benefits, you will have access to bus passes because part of their program is to help you look for a job, right? So you need transportation. We also have bus passes with general assistance as well, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But yes, bus passes we do assist our customers with that.
What would be an example of someone who would need the immediate need?
It would be someone like they're being evicted from their home. They're being evicted and they don't have money to pay, and they have an eviction notice.
Essentially, if you're equipped to pay late fees.
Yes.
And we don't have that money to give late fees to it.
And also if their electricity is going to be turned off, which would be an immediate need, right? We need electricity, especially here in Bakersfield. So qualifying emergencies, here we go. Lack of housing, pending eviction, shut off notice, transportation, and clothing. So for temporary homeless assistance, it's once every 12 months. You have applicants and recipients. You assist with temporary shelter for 16 consecutive, that's no longer consecutive days. We assist with 16 days. So you can come within the 12-month period and use those 16 days to help you with an issuance. It's no longer consecutive. Before, the customer had to come consecutively up to 16 and be issued that temporary homeless, and not anymore. The client must be apparently eligible or receiving CalWorks. They have to meet the income limit and the resource limit to be eligible to receive the temporary homeless assistance. Permanent homeless assistance are for recipients, meaning that it can't be a new applicant. It's someone that's already receiving benefits can apply for homeless assistance. Assist with security deposit to secure permanent housing, and rent must not exceed 80% of the total monthly income. And what that means is that we will assist you as long as your rent isn't more than 80% of your income, because how are you going to pay it, right? So we want to make sure that if you find a place, you meet that criteria and you're able to pay it going forward. So Welfare to Work, which we kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. Welfare to Work objective is to create self-sufficiency through employment. So the whole purpose of Welfare to Work with financial services they assign activities to remove barriers of employment, develop job skills, and enhance self-esteem, and prepare to find and retain employment. So they have a really good program for our customers. If our customers really take advantage of that, which they're normally mandatory unless they meet an exemption for welfare to work, there are so many things. They have job developers. The job developers, they'll help them with interviewing skills. If you need clothing, we'll help you with clothing. They'll help you. I've heard of programs. They also give laptops, like so you can go to school. I mean, there's so many resources out there. But if they're in welfare to work, they help develop skills because the whole purpose of welfare to work isn't just for you to find a job. It's for you to keep it. We want you to keep the job, not just find it.
So like WEX and PWEX.
Huh? HowLearn provides services to pregnant and parenting teams to encourage them to stay in school and earn a high school diploma or equivalent. So when it comes to HowLearn, it's obviously someone that's pregnant and they're a teen. But with HowLearn, they do have to have a guardian or a parent living with them. Unless they meet an exemption, which an exemption would be if they're emancipated or they haven't seen their parent in more than 12 months, then they can be in the HowLearn program. The HowLearn program has a lot of things to offer these individuals. They have to report progress report on school. If they get the high school diploma, they get $500 bonus. Yes. If they comply giving us information on their progress in school, like their report card, we give them $100. Not too bad, right? Lots of things in HowLearn. It's such a good program. Question. Okay. I'm going to talk about Medi-Cal. Medi-Cal is a big one. So we basically cover the big essential programs, right? We need food, we need cash, we need health insurance, right? Most of our customers that we work with together. Medi-Cal, it changed in 2014. It became Magi. It was when Obamacare, do you guys remember Obamacare? When Obamacare came to play, it changed the whole dynamic of Medi-Cal. Before, you weren't eligible if you were between 19 to 64. 19 and under, if you're a child, potentially eligible if you're income eligible. Over 64, you were aged and disabled. You were getting benefits, insurance either through Medicare, right, through the Social Security Administration office, or you would get benefits through us because you met the criteria. Well, when Magi came to play, now these individuals are potentially eligible, and it's based on their taxes and their income. That's the methodology behind Medi-Cal. So Medi-Cal is 45-day processing time frame. Eligibility starts from the beginning of the month of application. So unlike CalFresh and CalWorks, eligibility starts the date that you apply. So what is today, the 27th? If I apply today, I don't receive benefits for 27 days. It starts the day that I apply. When it comes to Medi-Cal, if I apply today, I get Medi-Cal the whole month. I get health insurance the whole month. So they're based on filing their taxes, how they file their taxes. That's how we create the households for Medi-Cal. Information may be electronically verified through Federal Hub. With Magi Medi-Cal, we can verify their information through several sources of federal information, like their income, their household, incarceration, EDD. So if they have any of that information, we can verify it ourselves when it comes to Magi. So the whole purpose of this is so we have to request less from the client and be able to process quicker. We have a lot of, just to give you an example, we have about, now it's about, 80,000 CalFresh cases just in the department that I work for, and it's about almost 200,000 in Medi-Cal. So it's quite a difference. Lots of people in Kern County have Medi-Cal. So Medi-Cal, you can request up to 3 months of retroactive, meaning that if I apply today in July, I can go 3 months back and say, I went to the hospital 2 months ago and I have a $20,000 bill, and you can apply for Medi-Cal. and we can potentially cover it if you're income eligible. So if they're over income for Magi Medi-Cal, which is our primary program for Medi-Cal, we will review for Cover California, which is APTC. And basically what that is we help you pay your premium through Cover California. So has anyone ever had their own insurance, pay for their own insurance for their household? You know how expensive it is. I mean, you're talking about $500, $600, $700, right? So what we do, if you fall under the criteria for APTC, we give you a tax credit. So instead of paying $500, $600, you're now paying $300 for your insurance. That's the way APTC works if you're over income for regular medical. We assist with plan selection and enrollment. We do, we'll help you. They can go under themselves and Cover California website, but we can help them with the plan selection. We have a managed care plan. If you get medical here in Kern County, you have to choose a managed care plan, which is Healthy Families and Kern Families and Health Net. You have to choose one of the two. Kern County has two providers, Health Net and Kern Family Healthcare. And that is their number in case you need it. Any questions? Yes.
Can you apply over the phone for
Medical? Yes, you can apply over the phone. You can apply Benefit Health. You can apply in person. You can apply any other way you can apply for any program.
I had a question. So, me and my wife certified in Medi-Cal. In the beginning of the year, we haven't heard on back still. Then we got more income. And, but my daughter is currently being seen by a physician for an issue, and it's her primary care. And I was just wondering if there's any medical, exceptions for somebody being able to stay on Medi-Cal or a child being able to stay on Medi-Cal for health reasons.
Yeah,
Because my employer offers it, but like you said, it's very expensive, and it'll be hard for a family.
that's a very good question. So the first, I want to address the first question. We were in the PHE, the pandemic, right, for COVID, and for the last 3 years, we weren't doing any negative action on the cases. So basically, all the cases for Medi-Cal were rolling. We could not do any negative action on Medi-Cal because we needed it, right? Because we were on a health crisis. So we just started in June touching those cases again. So that is probably why you haven't heard a recertification about your recertification. I would imagine your Medi-Cal is still rolling. Yes. So another thing is that there are different income levels for the people in your home. Your and your spouse's income level is lower than your child's income level. So meaning that your child is more likely to qualify than you because they can make more money, more income can be allocated to them because the children are what we try to have to make sure that they stay in Medi-Cal. Right. So their percentage, they can be at a higher income level than the parents. Like mom and dad may not be eligible, but child will.
That's all we can.
Yeah.
So the child can stay on Medi-Cal if mom and dad don't qualify.
Yes, that's correct. We have lots of cases like that. Parents are in APTC or they don't have Medi-Cal at all because they don't qualify. Children will.
So they'll let us know, like, they won't just cut us off. They'll let us know, like.
You will. Yeah. This year they started in June now to do the last 3 years. Lots of overtime. Let's just say that. And so now you will be hearing about it. But right now it should be rolling until they review your recertification. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
What if the mom is receiving Medi-Cal for the children, and then she gets married, and then they're over income because they got married? Will the children still be able to receive that Medi-Cal?
It depends on the income level. Yeah. If now she's married, dad's income counts, right? And again, it's all based on how they file their taxes as well. And so, but because they're married, income counts, and is he the father of the children?
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, his income is going to count, and depending on the level of income, the kids may or may not be eligible. So we have a program that's called TLICP, And that's a program that the household was paying up to $20 a month to get full Medi-Cal. So the household, if they were over income for Magi, right, they would pay up to $20. As long as you pay that payment, you get full Medi-Cal. Well, now I believe that's been reduced. I don't think they're paying a premium anymore for that program, and it had been for years. So it's a possibility that those kids would still be eligible.
What's the cutoff on that?
I don't know it off the top of my head. We have a chart, a FPL chart, and I don't know. I want to say for children it's 250% of the FPL, but it's going to depend on the household, right? How many people are in the household? I'm trying to picture that right now. It would depend on your household size.
For household?
Yeah, I don't. At the top of my head, I don't. But you know what? You can give me your contact information. I can send it to you. Yeah, you can definitely do that. Yes.
Are undocumented individuals eligible to receive Medi-Cal?
That's a very good question. So you guys have heard of the DACA program? The DACA program is for individuals that are non-citizens, and anyone under the age of 26 was receiving Medi-Cal full benefits. Well, now anybody over the age of 50 receives full benefits for Medi-Cal as well, undocumented individuals. Before it was only emergency services. This happened about, I want to say 2 years ago now. So anyone between the 26 and 49 is still not out. They get emergency services.
People that do qualify, do they have to have a matriculate in order to qualify?
You mean like some identifying? They can be undocumented and they would qualify for services.
So you don't have to have like an ID.
And they can provide any type of identification. Because that's really just for identification, not for citizenship purposes, right? It's not really, it's just mainly for identification. Yeah. Yes. So, emergency services, anyone that's undocumented between those ages, if their income level is under the FPL for that household, they can qualify. Yeah, they can qualify.
What if there's a 22-year-old that receives SSI and they apply for coverage? And then
A 20, no, well, it depends. Does she have a child under 19 and do they have a deprivation? No, but we're about to go into that program for her. General assistance is for you. All right, so general assistance is cash. It's a cash program like how it works, but it's for individuals that have no dependents. They have 0 dependents, and it's a cash program for Kern County. How do you apply? You can apply in person, by mail, by e-applications. Now you can apply for general assistance through Benefits Cal, which you couldn't before. When we had See For Yourself, you couldn't. When we transferred over to Benefits Cal, I don't know, about a year ago, now you can apply for general assistance. Phone client is able to call and request an application to be mailed to them. They can also do that as well. But anyone can apply. How long is the processing time frame for general assistance? 30 days. We have 30 days to make a determination. I would think this is where our homeless population, would come into play. Yes.
So someone that's homeless is receiving general assistance, what would cause them to only receive food stamps and no cash aid?
Like not be eligible for this program?
Yeah, well, you know what? In the past, I came across a lot of people that had general assistance, but they only received food stamps. They received no cash, but it is a cash program.
It's a cash program, but I'm about to go into the details, and this might answer your question. So an interview must be conducted, it's normally conducted by phone, but it's face-to-face if requested. So normally general assistance applications were done face-to-face. Through the pandemic, we changed that, right? We want to make sure that we're protecting the customer, we're protecting our employees because of COVID. So those rules have not changed, and I expect them to stay the same, honestly. but they're not set in stone. But right now, you can do it over the phone, and they can do face-to-face if requested. So currently, Bakersfield is also doing a GA orientation, where customers can schedule and come into OC Sales office where they receive initial GA information as well as forms in a group setting and then in one-on-one with the worker. So we're doing this because we have a lot of applicants right now for GA, and there is certain criteria that you have to meet for GA. Not everyone qualifies. So what we do is we have an orientation so they can find out information on GA and what it actually entails and what they have to meet, what criteria they have to meet, and if they still meet that criteria, they meet with the worker one-on-one. So with GA, we have what's called employable and unemployable. Employable meaning exactly what it sounds like. If the individual can be employable, they will receive 3 months of GA, 3 months of GA in a 12-month period. Unemployable is meaning that they are claiming some type of disability and I can't go to work. But they have to provide proof of that that they're disabled, right? And that would require information from their doctor. They have to give them a form, yes.
Sorry. I have a client right now. He did receive his SSI benefits. He was doing GA, but then they told him that he had to pay back his GA.
Yeah, so when you receive GA, one of the requirements is that you're signing and letting us know that once you receive SSI, because a lot of our GA applicants and customers are on their way to receive SSI, but you know SSI takes a while, right? The whole process. And so they have to pay back the benefits through their SSI.
Even if the doctor said something and saying that the client couldn't work.
Yes. Yeah, that is something that is mandatory.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, it's about to go. Let's talk about employable. I just looked at the time. All right, so employable may receive GA benefits for 3 months within a 12-month period. Reapplication process follows application date, not discontinuance date. Individuals are required to comply with work job requirements. And employable is documentation of disability required. Benefits may be issued for a 12-month period. However, the length is determined as proof of the existing disability. So after renewal, after recertification 12 months later, if they are still disabled, we can recertify them and they can continue to receive benefits. They have to have allowable needs when it comes to GA. So meaning that we give a certain standard amount for each need: housing, utilities, school, transportation, and personal needs. When it comes to GA, it's our black and white program. We literally give you what you're eligible based on the need that you're requesting. And it's a standard amount. It's not like what you're paying for rent. It's like what we allow as a standard amount. Same thing, like every other program, we let them know what we need. We request it, give the client 10 days to provide. They get a notice of action if they're going to be denied or approved, and they can always appeal the decision. And general assistance is a manual program for us, so everything is done manually. We give them a manual notice, everything. We have specialized teams that work on general assistance programs right now. They get issued the first of the month to their EBT card if they do qualify. And lastly, we're accepting applications, guys. We're accepting applications for eligibility workers, social service workers, and clerical. Definitely. You can send your resume to Maribel Belvan. She's our coordinator. And you can send your resume especially for extra help, if anyone's interested, or any customers. That just is also water, yeah.
I love that.
Yes. It depends on the position. So eligibility worker, I think you have to have at least 60 units. Social worker, you have to have a degree. And clerical, it depends. Probably not, if you still have to meet the requirements for unit.
And we're in this case, just receiving,
It's eligibility work.
And if a person's receiving benefits, can they apply, if they're currently receiving benefits from DHS, can they apply for a job position there as well?
Yes, definitely. They go into a confidential paper.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions for me besides being hungry?
I have clients who have said that they've applied or are fearful of applying for benefits because they have child support needs. Is that then immediately prevent them applying for medical health benefits?
So child support is only, it's for CalWORK. So if you apply for cash aid CalWORK benefits, you're consenting and you're agreeing to consent that we're going to do a child support case.
Why is, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
Why is that? I just want to know.
Because we need to be repaid back. That's how we get paid back for issuing CalWORK benefits. And we have something with child support office, and that's how we repay the payments back. Yes, from the father or mother.
It's you, but it's you.
People from the father.
What if they don't know who the father is?
I get it.
So if they don't know who the father is, we gather as much information as we can. We have what's called a 2.1. We get identifying information like the color of their eyes, the color of their hair, tattoos. When did they last see them? What was the last reported address, last reported employer? A lot of people have a lot of information. Get them, right? Or her. Get her or him. But some people don't, they disclose what they want to disclose. But to get CalWORK, unless you meet an exemption, and it could be maybe it's a domestic violence situation where they don't want to participate in child support, it has to be something like that, and it has to be approved by a program director that you're not agreeing to do child support. But besides that, every single person getting cash aid has to agree to do a child support case. Any other questions? Yeah.
Well, here's the situation. There's a mother who does get general assistance, has 3 adopted children, and then they get their check. Why wouldn't the mother qualify for Health Fresh in that situation? I know it's per income.
They're adopted?
Yeah.
Okay, so adoptive income is going to count in your CalFresh case. If they're adopted, their income that she's receiving for them counts. She may be over income. If they were foster children, she has a choice whether to add them or not. But adopted, all income counts. Yes, you're welcome. I'm sorry. What was that?
I was like adopted children get checks. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
What was your question? I'm sorry. Yeah. Why don't we get your information? I can direct you to the TCVAP policy, the policy person, and they can definitely direct you to the right path where you need to go. Because there's a specialized person that does TCVAP cases. Let me get your information after this, and then I will direct you to a policy person, and they'll let you know who can help you further. Yeah. That's good. Any other questions?
Can you just the definition of a sanction case?
A sanction case, they can be sanctioned for multiple reasons, but most of the time, if they're sanctioned for CalWORK, it's because they didn't comply with welfare to work. They have to comply with a welfare to work requirement, and if you're not complying with that, we're going to sanction you.
And how do they verify that?
They can attend an orientation, and then they agree to cooperate again, and then they send it to the eligibility worker, and we reinstate them.
I see.
Okay. Good questions. Any other questions? Guys, I'm so sorry. But good presentation. Thank you very much.
So basically apply, get hired,